Today I want to talk to you about why women tend to cry at the workplace. And at the end, I'm also going to talk to you about ways you can use this to your advantage, and maybe I'll convince you you should cry at work. One moment. Have my drink. Okay, so we can start. So is it okay to cry at work? It happens to all of us. We all get sad. We all get overwhelmed with emotion. We all get flooded with this, the sensation where you get your tears up to here and you try to hold it in. So I want to talk to you today to normalize it a little bit. So without me rambling on, let's talk about it. So we'll break some myths about crying and about women. And at the end, we'll talk about why it will work in your advantage. What happens to us as women, I've talked about it in previous videos about the fact that on one hand, we're taught emotions are part of us. And when we cry, we get the approval that it's okay. It's okay to connect with our emotions. But then when we grow up, we get this criticism. Don't make her mad, she's gonna cry. When you cry at work, nobody feels comfortable around you. And somehow more women report, more than men, women report that it happened to them, that they cried unexpectedly. You know this feeling when you're in a meeting, something is being thrown into the air and it bubbles up inside of you and you're like, just not now, just not now. And you're doing everything in your power to just kind of shove it back in. We have this notion that if we're gonna break down and cry, it's gonna be a big mess. And most of all, everyone around us, especially if it's in front of our bosses, they're gonna think we're weak. So there is actually a study that's been done that showed that 44% of women asked have reported to have cried before in the past sometime in their work. And men, it was, I think, 9% of men reported that they cried in the past. The amazing thing was the 9% reported they felt clean and a relief after they cried, but women reported they felt lousy and bad and mainly weak. So let's start with explaining why is crying such a taboo. Okay, the first thing is because crying breaks what we call the social norms. The social norms is what you know to be accepted where you lived. This is what helps you understand that if you're sitting with your friend, she just had a breakup, she just went through a breakup, then it's completely normal for her to cry and you tell her, take it out and talk about it. You can cry, it's okay. On the other hand, if you see your colleague at work breaks down and cry in the middle of a meeting, then we know it's not okay. And that's what social norms are. So when we cry at the workplace, it kind of breaks the social norms. These norms tell us what's appropriate and what's not. It's important to say that obviously it doesn't determine anything, but that's the first thing that's brought up when we see someone cry or when we cry. We know that's not the place, so we feel bad about it. And in general, we feel it's not okay. On the other hand, biologically, there's a very good reason why we cry, and that's because crying is actually cathartic. It's supposed to be cleansing and relieving, and the problem begins that us as women feel when we cry at the workplace in front of our bosses or in front of our colleagues or our subordinates is that we feel like we failed this big feminist test. We feel like we're being now perceived as weak. In general, in our society, emotions and crying is associated with being weak, with not functioning. The main reason we hate crying is because of some big myth we're all being taught as we're children, and we grow up knowing these myths. And I'm going to talk about it. And don't forget that later at the end, I'm going to talk about why you should cry and why this will be your advantage. But before that, if you like this video, don't forget to like it, hit the like button, and please share in your comments what were your worst moments. Myth number 1. Women cry because they're more sensitive and less tough than men. The fact is, women have 6 times more of a hormone that is associated with crying, which is called prolactin. And it means that we're actually biologically prone to cry more than men. Crying, as I said before, is a biological, evolutionary process. The important thing to remember is that crying has nothing to do with mental rigidity and being strong or being weak. Myth number 2. Crying makes you look weak and hurts your reputation at work. Professionally, you don't perform as they wish. The fact is that it's not so true. There was a few functional studies that asked managers to rank their employees, and the employees that were ranked the highest were the most sensitive. And the managers felt like they were more efficient, effective, good for their organizations. What makes the biggest difference is the way you respond to it. If you make it okay, if you make crying a part of something normal that we all do, then your counterparts and the people that work with you can relate and they can react to it in a better way. Because when you're embarrassed about it, it affects others, and they're embarrassed about it and they don't know how to respond, and then you're sad about them not knowing how to respond, and it's this vicious circle. So how about we try to change our perception of crying at work? Myth number 3. Crying reduces productivity and hurts workplace dynamics. The fact is, relatively speaking, crying is the least destructive thing you can do at work compared to having yelling matches or any kind of poisonous behavior, competition in the workplace. Unlike these toxic behaviors, crying won't ruin someone's day. Maybe it will ruin yours, and we're trying to get over it, to overcome it, but it's not going to ruin someone else's day. So now it's time, let's talk about why you should stop fighting it, why you should start embracing your emotions and your tears. You know, in the workplace, there's always a growing need for creative people, for emotional people, for people who work from their gut. And that is so many women that I know, and so many women are so intuitive. We work with our gut. We know what others feel. We know what we think. That's a great strength. So here is how you can turn your sensitivity into your strength in the workplace. So the first thing is interpersonal communication skills. It's known that sensitive people are more emotionally intelligent, which makes you, or the person sensitive, know what others feel, what others think, which improves the communication skills in the workplace, which is one of the things that managers and the workplace people want. Second thing is you can make a wonderful team member just by knowing people, knowing emotions, know what they need, know how to support them. I hope you also know what you need. But this creates a more collaborative and productive work environment, which is what everyone wants. The third thing is being sensitive usually connects you to more creativity. So while sometimes being so sensitive can feel like a huge burden on you, I want you to remember that it can connect you to your emotions, and emotions bring more creativity, which in turn to the workplace can bring more productive ideas and solutions and innovative ways of working, which makes you a great worker. I want you to remember it's okay to cry. It's okay to have emotions. Emotions and tears are something that is built in us. It's something that we've had as a survival mechanism in our lives. When you accept this part, then you know you're human. You can't just wake up in the morning, get dressed, get ready, and turn it off. I leave emotions at home. I go to work and then I come back. You know, we have this tendency of separating our personal life and our work life. And especially these day and age, when everything is at home, we are so connected. We can't really separate it. So of course, you don't want to bring your personal feuds into the workplace, but when you fight with them, when you push what you feel away and you don't give it room and space, it comes back even in a higher intensity. And that's why you get this moment of bursting in tears unexpectedly. So as always, thank you so much for being here today. I hope it gave you something. I hope it gave you some kind of value. If you like this type of videos, if you're a woman that feels like she wants to be empowered, you want to know what you're going through is completely normal, then I invite you to join this family of women and subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell button so you can get notified whenever I upload new videos. Don't forget to like it. It really supports my channel. And I promise I will be here next Tuesday, like every week. So thank you and bye.